One of the greatest liabilities of our modern civilization is politics. And one of the greatest lack of leadership will, lack of political will, and cowardly statement I have seen in the 21st century is trying to be politically correct. And that's why I don't get involved in politics. I rather get involved in valuetics to learn the basics of valuetics and how you can avoid the distraction of politics. Let's take this valuetical journey together.
My East China. I'm an expert global business solutions expert and your real estate success strategist known as the mayor of housing.
Welcome to my daily insights into my daily quotes with my ace, where I give you a longer, deeper insight into my daily quotes for deeper secrets for your accelerated results. And today's quote says, I don't get involved in politics. I prefer to be involved in valuetics. Dare to transcend politicking to valueticking. One of the greatest masks of idleness, mask of time wasting, mask of lack of productivity that has been introduced in our modern time is politics. Politics is supposed to be a game of leadership, but it has become a game of empty discussions that are destructive and ride up agendas, narratives, and propagandas that have no value, but sometimes deliver a lot of microscopic value to the propagandists and those people moving the agenda that they think they are winning, but they are all sinking the ship of civilization while they are in it. So there are 6 things I want to teach us about valuetics that will make you not only love value, but you become like myself. I am Africa's biggest value mongers. Value mongers are those that create value, discuss value, and spread value. So if you want to learn the basics of value and how to avoid falling into the political trap, you have to obey these 6 things. Number 1, never discuss policies and government discussions that has no real bearing from your discussion. For instance, in Nigeria, we know that the government does not listen to us. We know that nobody is listening to us, but 98% of our TV programs and radio programs is discussing a government that does not listen. I don't get involved in such discussions. And sometimes even the suggestions we are making in those discussions are not real and attainable. I only face the real and attainable discussions, especially the ones I can control and meet. If I can help, for instance, the housing deficit in Nigeria starting from Port Harcourt, I discuss how I can move my project forward and make housing more affordable. The second thing you need to avoid is discussing any policies and having no direct effects of those policies on people. When I cannot change the effect of a policy on people, I don't discuss that government policy. If my discussion will not have a direct bearing on the people's livelihood, on how to better people's lives, I don't involve in such discussions that are more like mental stimulations to excite your intelligence, but without any simple direct effect on the people. We are in Nigeria where there are a lot of expert policy experts, but when it comes to the direct effect of that policy on the people, these people will be dumbfounded. The third thing you have to avoid and do if you want to discuss valuetics and not politics is, of what value is my discussion, involvement, or what I'm doing? I usually tell people, if what I'm doing has no direct involvement or bearing on the government, I don't discuss it or get involved. Like in the 2023 elections in Nigeria, I was told by the then lying INEC chairman that results will be compulsorily transmitted. I didn't bother going around campaigning. I didn't bother criticizing anything. All I did on the day of election was that after my vote, I stayed back in my polling unit to ensure that that copper uploaded before she left. And because the presidential server was turned off, we had to open the manual of the book and found out how to upload offline so that whenever the server was on, it would come immediately. And it took us from after voting around 5 p.m. till 12 midnight before we could upload offline and before we could allow the copper to go. And that made my polling unit of Gulf Estate Port Harcourt was not riggable on iRev. I still am proud that I could not change everything, but the value of my staying there was to ensure nobody rigs in my polling unit. The next question you have to ask yourself before you get involved is time efficiency. How long will what you are doing effect a change in the people? Many of us are just flowing around with the narrative propaganda and wasting our energy. I see some one-man activists that are trying so hard to change the nation, change the narrative, change the government. But the time it will take you to change that government would have allowed you to better your life and created enough influence for you to change the government in future. So if the time efficiency for what I'm doing will not effectively effect change timely, I don't get involved. I rather look for something more valuable that will effect the change for one person. And one thing I do is that I might not be able to change this country, Nigeria. On my YouTube channel, by the time I get 1 million naira to the one person that has won a comment and win monthly challenge, and he has learned the videos I drop here, I would have changed the life of that one person in a timely way. 15 is, if the value is not compoundable, I don't discuss it or get involved in it. The greatest value in the world is compound value, and that's why Albert Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. And he said those that understand it are paid by it. I understand compounding so much that if whatever value I'm putting cannot compound, I don't put it. And that's why in this channel, I don't just do giveaway. I put a lot of time, energy, and money in providing these valuable videos that when you watch them, the knowledge compounds as you watch them over time. That in the next 10 years, I am sure that not only will this channel be the most generous channel in Africa, but it will be the most educative channel in Africa, because it would have created so much value that can teach people and compound your value to make you go from value to value and multiplication of value. So if the value is not compounded, if it's a one-off thing with politics, I don't get involved, except it has the value, compoundable value. The last but not the least is the most important question nobody asks in politics that differentiate politics from valuetics, and that's productivity. So if what I am doing in politics does not have real simple GDP effects, I don't do it. And what every nation should be discussing is productivity, because the internationally agreed single index for the prosperity of nation is GDP, gross domestic product. But I tell people, if you define it as gross domestic product, you miss the idea. The real definition should be gross domestic productivity. As adults, the docility of adults is more dangerous to our society than crime and violence. So the only thing politics, government, or valuetics should be discussing is how your discussion and what you're doing can make more people productive and less people docile and lazy. The more people are productive, the more the gross domestic product they can produce in a year, and the more the GDP of a nation, the richer the nation. So instead of wasting productive man-hour discussing things that does not improve our productivity, that's why in this video I tell you, don't watch to learn, learn to do, and only doers are winners. Because with all the discussion, all your knowledge, all the politics of valuetics, if your productivity does not increase, not only are you a loser, but all those discussing with you at that point are losers. And that's why I don't get involved in any discussion, activity, or political inclination that will not have a simple, real productivity effect on the people. This channel I started is to stimulate your personal productivity. The things I do at Ventures is to stimulate the personal productivities of Nigeria, especially the Nigerian youth, because I know you are the future of this nation. And that's the real difference between politics and valuetics. Politics discuss policies, ideas, and propaganda. Valuetics discusses real values that can drive productivity, and it discusses these values in real policy discussions that are real. Simple, direct effects of policies on people that are implementable. Of what value is what discussion they are discussing that will have value directly to the people? Discussions and activities that can improve time efficiency. Discussions and activities that can increase compoundable value. And discussions and activities that can increase real, simple GDP effect and increase the productivity of the people. And that is why my quote for the day says, I don't get involved in politics. I prefer to be involved in valuetics. You watching me dare to transcend politicking to valueticking. And that's why my value ticks in this channel. And TICK is an acronym for teach, inspire, create, and collaborate. So whatever you're doing that is not teaching, inspiring, creating, and collaborating with others is a huge distraction. So tell me in the comments below, which of these have you noticed in any politicians that can show to tell me and name that politician that has any of these that you can call a valuetician politician. For me in Nigeria, I only know one of that politician, and his name is Peter Obi. So far, of all the politicians I've known, that's the one valuetician that when he was in Anambra State, I am from Anambra, I saw the value he delivered in Anambra and how he inspired the productivity of Anambra State, raising the GDP of the state. If you know of any other such politician that embodies these valuetics of a valuetician, that is both a politician and a valuetician, tell me in the comments below. But if your choice is my choice, still repeat the same name I've told you in the comments below. And that's why politics is very expensive. And the expensiveness of politics is because we allow cheap people, leaders, to see how cheap things are more expensive and to learn to avoid those cheap things and go for the real things. Click on the video above and I'll see you on the other side.
Hey, Lele, this is super duper amazing that you found my content valuable enough for you to watch till the end. Only 5% of exceptional people do that. You're exceptional and I deeply love and appreciate you. Hey, Lele, don't just watch to learn. Watch to take action. And the first action is subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss any of our daily value action. Remember, only doers are winners.